Top stars this hour, new PDP National Chairman Kabiru Turaki assures party members of end to impunity. DSS operatives disrupt alleged arms supply network linked to attacks in Plateau State while arresting suspected arms dealer. NDLEA arrests a suspected drug trafficker in the Isola area of Lagos State. On the foreign scene, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists Israel remains opposed to a Palestinian state after protests by allies. Good evening, this is news at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Olufemi Alabe. New national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Kabiru Turaki, has assured members of the party and Nigerians that there will be no more impunity and suppression of their will. Dr. Turaki stated this while delivering his acceptance speech after being declared as the new national chairman of the People's Democratic Party at the 2025 elective national convention of the party in Ibadan. He scored a total of 1,516 votes to defeat his closest rival, Garuba Lado, who scored 41 votes. Dr. Turaki, a former Minister of Special Duties and in Intergovernmental Affairs, assured party members that the confidence reposed on the new elected party executives would not be taken for granted, and they would do whatever it takes to effectively carry out their responsibilities. He further assured party members that henceforth there would be fairness, equity, and justice in the party. He said the new executives would start visiting some of the aggrieved party members to appeal to those with genuine grievances to return to the party in order to save Nigeria's democracy from imminent collapse.
This is the day that the Lord has made for us. On behalf of myself and other members of the newly elected National Working Committee of our party, the People's Democratic Party, I stand before you today and before Nigeria.
Earlier, the PDP expelled the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Yesem Wike, and a former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, from the party for anti-party activities. It also expelled the National Secretary, Samuel Nyau, and 8 others, and dissolved party structures in Igbo, Abia, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers States. The chieftains were expelled for anti-party activities and fostering disunity with a series of litigation against the interest of the party. The chieftain of the PDP, Bode George, who moved the motion for the expulsion of 11 key members, citing what he described as activities inconsistent with the party's collective interest as reasons for the move. The chairman of the PDP in Bauchi State quickly seconded the motion. The governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, put the vote forward for members to adopt and ratify the expulsion of those involved, and it was unanimously accepted. However, moments later, 2 PDP governors, Amadou Fintiri of Adamawa and Caleb Muftwang of Plateau, rejected the expulsion.
Senator Samuel Anyayu, Honorable Umar Bature, Adeyemi Ajibade, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Senator Mao, Honorable Austin Wachuku, Abraham Ama, George Tana, Chief Dan Obi, for the expulsion as per the motion raised ably by our elder statesman, citing our constitutional provisions as enumerated, that is Chief Olabode George, and ably seconded by my chairman, Sis Adamu Bunga. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State has described the party's national convention held in Ibadan on Saturday as illegal and said its outcomes will not stand. In a statement by its publicity secretary, Kenneth Yowika, the Rivers PDP praised the Independent National Electoral Commission for boycotting the convention, saying the move upheld the rule of law and democracy. The party noted that two federal high courts had barred the PDP from holding the convention, while a high court in Ibadan allowed it to proceed. Despite the conflicting rulings, the party went ahead with the event, electing new national executives and dissolving some state-level party executives. Mr. Yowika described the convention as a sham and criticized the disregard for subsisting court orders. He said INEC's decision to comply with the Federal High Court judgments exemplified adherence to democratic principles. The Rivers PDP expressed confidence that the convention would be declared invalid by a competent court, urging members to remain calm and rely on the judiciary. Meanwhile, the leadership of the Jigawa State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has warned against fraudsters posting as delegates at the party's convention held in Ibadan, Oyo State, insisting that no authentic delegate from the state participated amid the party's deepening national crisis. While issuing a disclaimer on the alleged participation of Jigawa delegates, chairman of the state chapter of the PDP said in a statement that the chapter remained firm by boycotting the Ibadan convention in line with the Federal High Court's judgment restoring the rights of party leader Sule Lamido to contest the chairmanship. The post came hours after the Ibadan convention kicked off despite a fresh Federal High Court order halting the event. He warned the public to remain courteous, saying any person claiming to be a delegate from Jigawa State is a fraudster. In other news, President Bola Tinubu has dispatched an emissary to Plateau State, Dr. Abiodun Acient, as part of his administration's efforts to curb incessant communal crisis of farmer-herders clashes, as well as foster intercommunal harmony in the state. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nonuga, said Dr. Acient, a Senior Special Assistant on Community Engagement in the North Central Zone, was in the state on Thursday, where she spent 2 days. According to the statement, she met Christian clerics and Fulani Meyeti Allah community leaders, while the efforts culminated in a town hall meeting in Jos. It further stated that delegates from various local government areas, traditional rulers, women, and youth leaders gathered to discuss ways to strengthen community-based peace structures and promote coexistence among diverse communities. In the meantime, the Department of State Services says its operatives have disrupted an alleged arms supply network linked to a Turak in Plateau State and neighboring areas, arresting a suspected arms dealer. Disclosing these in a statement, the Secret Police said the suspect allegedly manufactured and distributed weapons and ammunition to armed groups operating in Plateau and other northern states. The suspect was arrested on November 12, 2025, following intelligence that led operatives to his workshop in the Mr. Ali area of Bassa local government area, Plateau State. DSS operatives were said to have recovered components of improvised explosive devices, chemicals and equipment from the location. Recently, the Secret Service recaptured Abdulaziz Obadaki Kujay prison escapee accused of involvement in the Owo and Deeper Life Church attacks. Popular Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi has lashed out at those calling for his arrest over his continued commentary on banditry and national security. The Islamic cleric has for years positioned himself as an intermediary between the government and bandit groups, a role that he has drawn both support and condemnation from the public. Some of his critics have accused him of shielding bandits and terrorists by asking the government to negotiate with them instead of resorting to full force. In a statement shared via Facebook today, the cleric defended his dealings with the gunmen, describing his opponents as spineless, irresponsible, and unpatriotic imbecilic people who prefer outrage to truth. Sheikh Gumi condemned the rising calls for his arrest, insisting that he has committed no crime by engaging with bandits in an attempt to secure peace. He said the loudest voices demanding that he should be picked up by security agencies are driven by bigotry, ignorance, and intolerance for different viewpoints. Elsewhere, Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, says Nigeria should not see its dwindling revenue as a national disaster, but as an opportunity to redesign the economy, strengthen institutions, and modernize the tax system. Speaking at the University of Elisha's Founders Day lecture, he said the country stands at a fiscal crossroad, but insisted that the challenge should inspire innovation rather than panic. Dr. Adedeji argued that economic resilience is not built during emergencies, but in periods of relative stability, and that Nigeria must adopt a proactive rather than reactive approach to fiscal management. The FIRS chairman stressed the need for structural reforms that look beyond short-term fixes, arguing that Nigeria must bounce forward stronger, smarter, and more prepared rather than merely recover from its disruption. He added that Nigeria's heavy debt burden, which he said at one point gulped over 90% of government revenue, shows why the country must rethink how it raises and manages public funds. He said the pressure should push the nation to move away from its dependence on oil and build a modern technology-driven revenue system that matches the size and realities of the economy.
Dwindling revenue is not the end of the road. They are called to reform. Our fiscal pressures are undeniable. Debt service obligations are high, traditional revenue sources are evolving, and societal demands are intensifying. Yet, history teaches us that the most resilient economy are not those that avoided hardship, but those that embrace adversity as a catalyst for transformation. This moment must not be seen as a crisis to be managed, but as an opportunity to reimagine, innovate, and rebuild with courage, clarity, and conviction. To seize this opportunity, we must commit to a bold reform agenda anchored on four pillars: a broad and equitable revenue system, one that is digital, inclusive, and reflective of shared responsibility across all sectors; discipline and transparent public financial management, guided by outcome, not just by allocation; diversified economic base, driven by strategic investment in productive and job-creating sectors; strong and accountable institutions, because reforms are only as durable as the institutions that implement and protect them. This is not a call for half measures or politically expedient fixes. It is a call for strategic foresight, institutional resilience, and intergovernmental thinking. At the Federal Inland Revenue Service, we understand the magnitude of the challenge before us, and we are rising to meet them. We are transforming into a modern, technology-enabled and intelligence-led revenue authority.
Now talking health, the Sokoto state government has confirmed an outbreak of dengue fever with 8 laboratory-verified cases detected across the Sokoto metropolis, including Sokoto North and Sokoto South local government areas. In an advisory issued to all public and private health facilities, the Ministry of Health warned of increasing reports of fever and severe malaria-like symptoms in several communities, urging health workers to heighten surveillance and intensify case detection efforts. Health Commissioner Farouk Abubakar said the state was taking proactive measures to prevent the wider spread of the mosquito-borne disease, noting that many of the reported symptoms resemble malaria but required distinct management. The ministry also directed all facilities to immediately notify the local government disease surveillance and notification offices of suspected cases and ensure proper sample collection and confirmation. The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission have signed a multi-year partnership to strengthen accountability in the health sector. In the post on X, Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, noted that the pact is centered on monitoring, tracking and auditing all expenditure involved in the nationwide overhaul of health infrastructure across all local government areas of the Federation. The federal government is currently undertaking a large-scale effort to rehabilitate and upgrade primary health centers across Nigeria's 774 local government areas. The initiative is part of broader reforms aimed at strengthening the health system, improving service delivery, and ensuring that public resources allocated to health infrastructure are used transparently and efficiently. Under the arrangements, the ICPC will deliver real-time stage-by-stage monitoring of revitalization projects linked to the National Primary Health Care Development Agency. Recognizing the importance of community-level oversight, Professor Pate said that the Health Ministry has also deployed hundreds of performance and financial management officers nationwide.
Fellow Nigerians and friends from around the world, good day to you all. Trust deficits between the governed and those who govern within our nation's public sector has long been a theme of the Nigerian story, one that can only be remedied with a concerted effort by public administrators and leaders across all tiers and branches of government to proactively embrace accountability and transparency in their stewardship of the commonwealth of our people. In line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, we have begun the arduous but necessary work of institutionalizing this approach in the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, and also in the agencies that it is directly supervising. I am pleased to inform you that our ministry and its parasiters have now entered into a multi-year pact with the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC, to comprehensively monitor, track, and audit the wide array of expenditures being made in the nationwide overhaul of health infrastructure across all local government areas of the Federation. In the medical profession, we believe that prevention is better than cure. This axiom equally applies well to our nation's new approach to dealing with corruption and all acts of financial misconduct in the health sector. The primary objective of our new pact with the ICPC is to institute preventative and corrective anti-corruption mechanisms, with a particular emphasis on the close surveillance of all health parastatals, as well as funding pathways under the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, which strategically and by law serves as a critical federal nexus to state and local government entities responsible for the judicious use of available resources so as to enhance the health and well-being of the Nigerian people. As part of our new partnership with the ICPC, state and local governments will be looked into new processes for enhanced accountability to ensure a national standardization of those measures that we are putting in the health sector. More specifically, by virtue of this pact, the ICPC is mandated to report on the status of projects identified by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, as a prerequisite for the final certification of project completion for payments. In real time, the ICPC is also mandated to provide strategic stage-by-stage monitoring of the primary healthcare revitalization projects in the implementing states, inclusive of all local government areas of the Federation, to ensure value for money.
Fire gutted a significant part of Kayat restaurant on Polo Road in Maiduguri, Borno State. Reports said the blaze started around 11 a.m. but was quickly brought under control by the Borno State Fire Service and the police. The public relations officer of the state police, Nahum Daso, confirmed that rescue efforts were ongoing. He added that preliminary investigations indicate that the fire may have been caused by an electric malfunction. Kwara State, a 12-year-old girl identified as Nabilat has died after falling into a domestic well at Ikoyi community, Irewolide area of Ilorin West local government area of the state. It was gathered that the tragic incident occurred yesterday when the victim reportedly went to fetch water but slipped and fell into the well. The Kwara State Fire Service, in a statement by its head of media and publicity, Hassan Adekunle, said the service was alerted through a telephone call by a resident who witnessed the incident. Firefighters were immediately deployed to the scene and successfully recovered the girl's body, which was subsequently handed over to a family member. Still to come. NDLEA says students seeking admission into tertiary institutions will undergo mandatory drug screening. We'll bring you more on this when we return.